a video on something that I want to have a bit of a play around with. So I was scrolling through Instagram or YouTube or whatever it was, one of the social media platforms, and someone was making a Italian cabbage and chickpea soup. No, it wasn't chickpea, it was beans. And they kind of said it was frugal food and it was perfect thing for winter. And I kind of thought, that looks all right with that. I kind of quite liked that idea. So I thought, let's have a go at that and let's use what I've got. Although I didn't have a cabbage because I don't generally buy cabbages, but I bought one anyway. But I have got some cooked chickpeas. They are that coloured chickpeas rather than the normal coloured chickpeas. And then we've got some stock-ish. So I worked on Friday and it was chicken and it was poached chicken. So that is the leftover poaching juice from the chicken. So we're going to use that as a stock. And then I was faffing around. I made some back bacon. There'll be a video by the time this comes out. And I gave half to my sister, and then the other bit I ate, and it was delicious. But I was left with purposefully left the rind, and I have cooked it in the oven so it goes crispy. And then we've got some nice bit of lard that's come out of that. So I just flattened it between two trays and a bit of greaseproof paper, no, baking parchment, and then roasted it in the oven. So it's gone hard and crisp, and then some of the delicious lard has kind of come out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to saute the onion. Oh, and there was a crouton of bread underneath this soup. So kind of like one of those bread soups, but only with beans and cabbage. That's kind of what kind of soup it was. But I didn't think I was going to do it just like that. I think I'm going to do it slightly differently. So I don't think there was an onion in it, but I'm going to put an onion in for flavour. And then we're just going to quickly, I quite like the idea of using the bitter leaves from the outside of the cabbage. And we're going to cook those so they're just not quite as bitter. It's a Savoy cabbage, so let's just, a bit of dirty. Let's just taste the outside and see what we think. I don't want it to be too big. So devein it, and then like that, and then I think like that. So the outside leaves are bitter, but I think if we cook them for longer in some of that delicious lard and with the onion, I think we'll get rid of some of that bitterness. Yes, we're going to use the outside leaves. I'm not going to eat all that cabbage, but we'll use the majority of the outside leaves and cook those first, like that, and then I'll slowly saute that down with some of the fat from that delicious lard. And then we're not going to waste the veins of the cabbage. We're going to throw those in as well. Now, not all of it, because it starts to get a bit woody. So if we snap it like asparagus, we should be able to see when it starts to get too tough. So we've got some horrible veins in there, so we don't want those, but we don't want those bits, because those will be tender, and we don't like waste. And if this is there we go, you can just see it's getting a bit too thick. And as this is a frugal dish, not as little waste as possible, that can go in the compost, or we could even turn that into like a fermented vegetable saucy type thing, like kimchi type thing. So we'll put those in, and then we're also going to do the same with the I can just stick my knife in. I once broke one of my knives doing this, so we'll just be a little bit more careful. And then we're going to use the inside of the stalk as well, because we'll just quickly show what I'm going to do. So, waste bucket. So, the outside, awful. Not nice to eat, those bits at all. But if we just carefully with our knife keep trimming this down the outside, we're left with this inner bit which has got no stalks and which has got no fibrous bits in it. It's just like a solid bit of, like the inside of a broccoli stem. So I don't want to waste that, and it tastes nice. So we'll just trim down these horrible bits from the outside. You'll kind of see when we get there. Maybe the camera won't pick it up. It's not the best camera, it's my phone. It's not the best phone. It's quite out of date now. I don't believe in getting the new stuff. Even when I need a new phone, I don't get a brand spanking new phone. I get an old model second hand, not second hand, but I get an old model. So we're left with that bulb from the inside. It's not a bulb, but that bulby bit. But that, there's no fibrous bits in there. It's a little bit tough. Nice with that. But it tastes a little bit like turnip or swede, along those type of flavour profiles. That's a little bit tough, but it's no tougher than that. So we'll cube that up, and any of the bits that we can fish out of there, and we'll saute those down with that and those and the onion. Then we'll put in these bits of cabbage, and then we'll put in the more tenderer bits of cabbage as we get through to the centre, and we'll saute those down in some nice bit of lard, and then we'll add some chickpeas and we'll add some stock. I'm not going to serve it as a soup. I think I'm going to serve it more like wet cabbage with bacon. So normally you want to get rid of the liquid that you've cooked the cabbage in, because you don't want that liquid on your plate. But as we're going to serve this in a bowl, and as the liquid will have taken on the flavour of the lard, and it's already quite chicky, and it's already got some nice flavour in it because it's like that chickeny broth, it'll take on the flavour of the onion and the cabbage. That'd be kind of quite nice to eat. So I think that'll be kind of quite nice, but I'm not going to have it like a soup. It'll just be kind of like wet. And then I've got some more lard, which we'll fry a bit of bread crouton in, and we'll serve it on that. And then we might do an egg. We might do a poached egg. What I also have got, so when I cooked the bacon that bit of rind came from, I poached it, and I kept the stock, and then I also rendered down some fat as well, so there was the jelly from the rendering down process, and I saved all that stock, and then I cooked the peas in it today, so we're left with this porky gelatinous stocky that thing. It's not just set just quite yet, but that's flavoured with peas, and I kind of think maybe some peas in this would be nice as well, but I haven't got any peas. But we have got this pea cooking liquid, which is delicious. So I'm going to use this instead of that. I'm going to use this instead of that because it's got loads of flavour in it, and it's nice and sweet because it had the peas cooked in it. We'll see. I might pop out and buy some peas, but I'd rather not. So we'll cook it in that, and then what I think we'll do is well, you'll see when I serve it, but then I think we'll have like a mug full of cooking liquid as well, as a bit of a drinky type thing, and I think that'd be really nice, like a flavoured kind of consommé broth type of thing. I think that'd be really nice. So we have some prep to do, we have some frying to do, and then we'll kind of see. And did I say we might serve it with an egg? And then we might serve it with an egg. Oh yeah, and then I think what we'll do is we'll take this bit of crunchy pork skin and we'll break it up. Let's take a taste of it now. We'll break it up, and I think we might either sprinkle on or cook into the cabbage, because if you kind of think like pork and cabbage and bacon type of thing, it's still it's the rind, isn't it? It's not bacon, but it is the bacon rind, so it would work. And it is particularly delicious. So we have things to do. We'll just chop the onion, do the rest of the stuff, and we're back when we're cooking it all and putting it all together. So, onion and stalks from the cabbage cooked first, and then I put in the dark cabbage leaves, which I've shredded. Oh, we're steaming up, aren't we? That's no good at all. And then I put in the chickpeas and put in some of that stock to steam stroke fry. There's some of the fat from the pork, or from the gammon skin in there. I put some pepper in. Let's put some salt in, and then these darker leaves are just starting to soften up. Now I'm going to do it on a crouton fried bread. So that's some of the fat from the gammon. So what we'll do is, instead of putting fat in the pan, we'll put fat on the bread and then fry it that way. And then we'll end up using less. We don't want a puddle of fat frying this in. And then this is some fat that I rendered down out of the fat from the pork belly, which I turned into bacon. So there's all these yummy bits on the top. So that's certainly going to get spread onto the bread to make the crouton. So put it on both sides. We'll have to be gentle because those crusty bits will want to fry and burn. So we'll just have to fry it gently. But if we spread on the bread, could use butter, but I've got this delicious lard, which will taste sensational. We'll just taste a bit of it. That's delicious with that. So, now in the frying pan, we'll fry that. These are almost ready. I'm not bothered about it losing colour. I'm much more interested in it tasting nice. So, that's okay, they're not bitter, so they can go in. So now the lighter green leaves can go in, and we can someone's gone down around the wrong pipe. So carry on cooking that, fry the crouton, and then I think I'm going to do a couple of fried eggs if I don't choke before everything's ready. So cabbage is cooked and at the back of the stove. It's still kind of nice and soupy. Bread is fried. Let's do a couple of fried eggs. I just cook them in a pan with a bit of fat, and just enough fat that we can give them a bit of a splash with some oil as they cook. Oh, I shouldn't have done that on the side of the pan. Should have done it somewhere else, not to worry. So, gently fry. I was taught at college that fried eggs should not have a crispy bottom. They should be soft, like a poached egg. So, and no colour on them. So it basically looks like a poached egg, but kind of like fried. So that's the way I've always done them. I don't like them with the crispy bottom, or as someone I know would call them, boot soles or buit soles, coming from a particular part of the country where I'm from. So we'll fry them gently and just give them a little bit of a spray with hot fat now and again. The fresher the eggs are, the better they'll hold together. So what we can do is we can just hold up the pan gently, scoop fat, and pour it over the top of the eggs, because we don't want that snottiness and we don't want to turn that over. But it's just shouldn't really be using a metal spoon in a pan either, should I? No. So we'll gently cook those, spraying a little bit of fat on top. I might just use the metal spoon. Let's see. Let's just move that out of the way, and we'll taste the cabbage. We'll move the lead from the phone out of the way. I guess we're always running out of power. Always running out of power, always running out of space, storage-wise. So, this is the cabbage underneath. How's it taste? Pretty good. Pretty good. So there is still quite a bit of juice in the bottom, which I would have been taught to strain off, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Right, so I'll carry on frying my eggs, and then we'll put it all together. Right, so eggs are done. Just starting to go a little bit white on top because we've been splashing a bit of fat. But in my mind, they're spot on. There'll be huge amounts of debate online about what the perfect fried egg is. I'm not going to get into it. I'd what we call it? I'd go somewhere like Claridge's or the Ritz and how they serve their fried eggs. I'd say that's how you're supposed to do it. Just neatened up the egg just a little bit, just taking off those bits. They can go on the bottom. We don't want to waste those, do we? And then wait so we can see. Doesn't need anything more. I don't think it does. No, nice and soft. So a little bit of the juice on the bottom, just to soften. You know, like sometimes I kind of want some of the fried bread to be a bit of a crunch to it, but I also want some bits to be soft. Like with deep fried fish, I always kind of quite like the soggy bits of batter. Each to your own in life. Each to your own in life. But I don't know. So what's this going to be? Like cabbage on toast? Cabbage on toast? Goodness only knows. But why not? We're not going to serve it like soup. And then that's fried egg. This one's slightly better. Just drain it. I'm not that bothered about the egg being a bit fatty, because it's delicious lard, so it's almost like a bit of a dressing. Ooh. I wasn't gonna... How are we gonna do this? I'm gonna do it like that. So we'll crunch some bits of crispy ham skin on top, and then we'll do a few bits on top of the egg as well, and then we'll have to take a picture. Out of the way, you can see the dirty cooker. I've turned the oven on, I've turned the gas off. Yes, I want a little bit. And sauce around the outside, and then I think just a bit of crunch to add some texture, like that. That out of the way. Wash my hands. Well, I'm gonna lick my fingers because that's delicious. Take a picture, and then we're back and we'll give it a taste. Knife and fork at the ready. See what we think. So, a bit of the cabbage. So the soup, I got the idea from. The bread was in the bottom, and I don't think they fried it. I think it was just dried bread put into the bottom, but I think frying it. Because we've fried a crouton in that delicious pork fat. What is it good? He's going down the wrong hole tonight. Oh, what's it like with a bit of egg? Yeah, so because we've fried that crouton in the pork fat, it tastes really meaty. Do you know what? That's lovely, isn't it? That's lovely, isn't it? It's not a soup anymore. It's cabbage on toast, isn't it? But why not? You kind of think Bubblin's Greek. You think cabbage and bacon. You know, it's all in the same kind of ballpark, and crispy pork pattern and crispy crouton. Not for everyone, but I think that's lovely. And I think I was thinking while I was swimming, nice to have a soup, but it's quite a brothy soup, and I don't find those are particularly nourishing, but not kind of particularly filling. Whereas that would feel more filling, and then you could drink the broth on the side as a bit of a nice warm drink. That would be lovely. But anyway, I think it's delicious. I think that's a success.